Mr. Speaker, child poverty in Manitoba under the NDP is out of control. There are nearly 10,000 children in care, with many being apprehended because of poverty, and yet this government has refused to raise the shelter rates in yet another budget. Yesterday, I asked the Minister of Family Services if she advised the Premier to raise the shelter rates, and she didn't answer. For these and many other reasons, I asked the Minister today, will she stand up for children and for those who are poor and resign because her Premier and Finance Minister have not supported the raising of shelter rates to help those who are poor and help children in this province?
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I'm not going anywhere. I think when we look at what the actions of this government has been over our time in office in terms of low-income families that I worked with before I was elected, we can see some of the actions that we've taken that have made a real difference in those families' lives. Ending the clawback of the universal child benefit. That clawback was costing those families with children $50 million a year. We ended that when we became government, and that is put back into the hands of a single parent with 2 small children, over $500 a month, Mr. Speaker. That is real help for those families. I'm also proud to be part of a government that has raised the minimum wage every year we've been in office.
Mr. Speaker, but the Minister has not raised the shelter rates. Numerous reports, including the Auditor General's report in September, have identified critical recommendations to protect children in care that have not yet been implemented. The Phoenix Sinclair inquiry has revealed the NDP CFS system to be mismanaged and is in a state of chaos. Under this Minister of Family Services, children and families have been continuing to suffer. I ask the Minister, will she do the honourable thing and resign to acknowledge her failure to implement so many critical recommendations?
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. You know, we take seriously every day our commitment to children and families in this government, and we have put tremendous investments into the child welfare system to better meet those critical needs. Hundreds of new frontline positions so social workers can manage their caseloads better. And in the time that we've been away from this House, I've had the opportunity to go and talk to some of those agencies, to talk to them about the things they're able to do now, that they're able to work with families who are in crisis before they get to the point of having to apprehend those children because of those investments. Those are the investments, Mr. Speaker, that are at risk if we were to go to the plan that I think perhaps the member for River Heights also supports, the plan to deeply cut into those services that was presented by the members of the opposition.
Manitoba Liberals support a better CFS system. Mr. Speaker, during the last session, the Phoenix Sinclair inquiry, the Winnipeg Free Press, the CBC, the Winnipeg Sun, and other media outlets shocked Manitobans by revealing details about the missing supervisory notes from CFS that were critical to the Phoenix Sinclair inquiry and its results. I point-blank asked the Minister then what happened to the notes. She evaded the question repeatedly, and we still don't know what happened to the missing CFS supervisory notes. I asked the Minister of Family Services, will she do the honourable thing and resign because of her failure to be accountable and to give the public the answers we need to understand how those critical supervisory notes went missing?
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Of course, we put that inquiry in place that is currently sitting, that is hearing very, very difficult testimony. I read the testimony that was offered yesterday, and it is heartbreaking to read the kind of fear that people lived with in this situation. And that's the kind of fear that child welfare workers encounter every day and work with. This discussion that the member is engaging in, that will continue to be a focus of the inquiry. As I said last session, policies are in place to make sure that records are kept. There's been a search for those notes. I understand that will continue to be a topic of discussion at the inquiry, and we'll look forward to getting the recommendations of that inquiry, and we will do our best to meet those recommendations. But we won't do them by cutting the very services that children are depending on.